Welcome back to the Knock-On Effect, the rugby show where we say what the pundits won't. We have just been treated to an absolute Munster-Leinster classic. In today's video, we're going to give our instant and honest reaction to a cracking match of rugby. Let's get stuck in. Lads, what a game. I'm buzzing after that match. We're going to go over all things Munster and all things Leinster. But first, make sure you hit like and subscribe. It honestly goes a massive way in us creating more of this kind of unfiltered rugby content. Right, so heading into this match, here's what we said in the lead up. What I want to see on Saturday from Munster is for us to be competitive. I want to see fight. I want to see drive. I want to see intensity. I want to see how much it matters. We touched on it in the intro, but it feels like the Munster players are beginning to rival Leinster once again. Through the likes of Craig Casey and Jack Crowley, it feels like this is truly the beginning of a new era for Munster rugby. Leinster seem a bit vulnerable at the moment after the first few games, and while I don't think they're going to drop off a cliff or anything like it, could Munster do the unthinkable? What do you guys think? Did we call it? Right, so the first half was a tale of two very different stories. Leinster came out all guns blazing, and in the first 10 minutes I was shook. Leinster's scrum dominated from the get-go. Furlong had big carries, Snyman had big carries, and Munster were on the ropes. Prendergast turned down 3 and put the ball into the corner. The big call paid off and the forwards mauled the ball close and Kelleher delivered the killer blow. Fresh from conceding the try, Andrew Smith put Booth to ball and pulled up with a hamstring injury. Munster suffered blow after blow. But, by Christ did we regroup and regather ourselves. Crowley was a huge factor in that. He seriously stepped up today. He drove Munster on and showed the confidence to attack. He was lucky not to have a crossfield picked off, but he persisted. He cleared up a ball at the back at one stage, he sidestepped 2 on-rushing defenders and cleared his lines with his left boot. Munster kept the foot on the pedal, and after another crossfield to Abrahams, Munster's phases finished with a try for Brian Gleeson. There was a proper big hit put in by numerous players during this period of the game. Larmour went off after a big collision in the build-up. Fingers crossed he just took a big bang and he recovers quick, as did Brian Gleeson, which unfortunately looked a little bit more severe, which is a big concern considering his Ireland selection. But again, Munster did not let up after this. From an attacking perspective, Munster used the line out as a base, constantly going off the top. But what I found really interesting was 9 out of 10 times, Crowley was putting boot to ball and either playing territory or looking to exploit Leinster's defence, just like we saw in Munster's second try. And lads, this could be try of the season. Ball off the top of the line out, Coughlan to Crowley, silky little dink over the top. Tom Farrell runs onto it and juggles the ball over the Leinster defender, regathers it as he crosses the try line. Poetry in motion. Leinster came back on the attack before half-time, and what happens? Ethan Coughlan, one of the youngest players on the pitch, picks off Jamison Gibson Park and runs the length of the field before half-time. The half-time score 7-21 to Munster. The Leinster players looked visibly pissed off heading down the tunnel, while Crowley called a huddle before Munster went in. I can only imagine he was reminding his men of the monumental task still ahead of them. I was sweating at halftime. We spoke about fight, we spoke about intensity, and we were seeing it, but I still felt like the second 40 minutes were going to be a massive test. The body count began to rise as both Edwin Edogbo and Diarmuid Barron were called ashore at the break. The first half felt like it flew by. The second did not. It was gritty, hard-fought, gruelling 40 minutes of rugby. Leinster were on the front foot in large parts, but something wasn't clicking. As much as they looked disjointed, credit has to be given to Munster here. Crowley slotted a 40-metre penalty to extend Munster's lead and keep the scoreboard ticking over. Clayton Mcmillan and defence coach Dennis Leamy deserve huge credit, but moreover, the players put in a massive shift. Beirne was phenomenal. He carried his Lions form straight over into this Interpro derby, and he was an utter thorn in the side for Leinster at the breakdown, constantly looking to disrupt and poach. Coombes got through a phenomenal shift. Fineen Wycherley was relentless. Munster's pack in general showed every bit of passion and fight you could have hoped for. As for the backs, they matched Leinster tackle for tackle. Leinster knocked on the door over and over again. Gavin Coombes held up Josh van der Flier for what was probably Leinster's best opportunity to score. Ethan Coughlan was so unlucky not to have a second intercept and injured himself in the attempt. After 20 minutes of Leinster's relentless attack, they looked absolutely knackered. And when Jack Crowley put the ball over the top, Prendergast got caught in possession. Then a lazy clearance followed, which ended with Crowley ball in hand just outside the 22. He flashed it wide to Abrahams, who took the ball to the line, offloaded it to Farrell, who came up just short. The TMO and ref came to the decision that Crowley cynically stopped Farrell from scoring a try and gave a penalty try. Let us know your thoughts on that one in the comments. I didn't agree at first, but could see how they reached the conclusion after the replays. Look, by that stage, I almost felt bad for Leinster. Almost. They gave their all, and they laid their bodies on the line, but it just wasn't good enough. After Coombes received a mystifying yellow and Scott Penny got a consolation try, the ref blew the final whistle. 31-7 Munster. We'll come back to Munster after a bit, but first, let's summarise this from a Leinster perspective. All week, all I've heard about is Leinster's class, the calibre of their players, how they usually win these matches. Was this complacency? They came out all guns blazing, but were they expecting Munster to fight back in the fashion they did? Their scrum was the silver lining here, and I think they have a good argument that Munster could have seen a card as a result, but other than that, they seemed stumped. Very one-dimensional in attack, just no answer to Munster's intense defence. You can delve down deeper to find an excuse. At one stage, Simon Zebo commented about Leinster being disjointed, and the other commentator asked if we could excuse it because of the new faces. These are Lions and World Cup winners we're talking about. The bottom line is simple. Hard work beats talent if talent doesn't work hard. Leinster looked confident heading into this one, and I think their complacency cost them here. The good news is that isn't going to last very long. Leinster have lost 3 of their first 4 matches. Who would have thought we were saying that? They need to get a grip on their form, and a huge part of that, inevitably, is going to come after the break of the Autumn Nations series. I expect Leinster to come back swinging. As for Munster, what a fucking performance. I had a few comments slagging me about using words like passion, intensity and fight, but this is why we talk about it. This was an absolutely classic Munster performance. Beirne was immense. Coombes and Wycherley worked their bollocks off. Abrahams looked electric out wide. Tom Farrell was as silky as ever. We mightn't have gotten to see the battle at scrum half that we wanted, but by God did Ethan Coughlan step up today. The subs, when called upon, all stepped up, and the depth that has been added to the team over the past 12 to 18 months has really shown. The man of the match was absolutely Crowley. Many hoped for a showdown at 10, and by God did it look like Crowley wanted to lay down a marker here. He took the game by the scruff of the neck and drove Munster to victory. What a day to be a Munster fan. Hard luck to Leinster. We look forward to another good scrap in Thomond on St. Stephen's Day. All week it's felt like Munster have been underestimated, but today is a day for Munster to be celebrated. We'll be back Monday night to wrap up all the action from round 4 of the URC, so make sure you hit the bell icon so you don't miss a beat. As always, cheers for watching. Catch you at the next one.